first time I ever saw you, Jaren, I've been following you for quite a while, actually. The first time I ever come across you, I was actually searching YouTube about just looking at fitness content and things like this. And you popped up on, I think it was on like Rich Cooper's show or something like that. And you were absolutely
Might have been
massive at
that,
the
yeah.
point. And I think
Yeah.
I remember listening and listening to your approach on how you stay sort of lean and controlling carbs and all that. And I always thought, yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff to sort of talk about. And then I think I obviously met Joel, and then I think Joel introduced me to you, and then we started following each other on Instagram. And then I found out you guys are sort of in the same city.
Yeah,
So
Joel was actually my roommate and channel manager. So, yep, we are more than in the same city. We are in the same residence.
yeah, so you've been at I know you've been helping Joel, haven't you, for a bit in terms of his training and things.
Yeah, he put on 15 pounds, I think, in his first 15 weeks or so. That was pretty aggressive,
Wow.
and I was doing it with him. I put on mass very easily. So after week 6, I had put on 6 pounds. And that used to be in my early days of bulking. It used to be 1 pound of lean muscle mass gain per 1 pound of body fat gain. Now it's not so much. It's like nice lean muscle mass. So I got to the point where I'm like, all right, I've got 6 pounds lean muscle mass on. I'll probably lose 1 or 2 pounds in the cut. I don't do bulk cut cycles anymore. And wanted to essentially, when I'm at 10% body fat, I'm usually 184 pounds. So I was like, all right, if I could be between 186 and 190 pounds at 10% body fat, that's where I want to settle. So I'm on the way to doing that right now. I'm actually leaning out at the moment. So yeah, not as big, not as much, whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, just a quick one for the viewers. They'll all be wondering about the thumbnail. I thought we'd have a bit of a laugh about that to start with.
Yeah, let's do it.
That
is AI. I'm not a Barbie doll or a Ken doll.
I mean, it's crazy. It looks like your abs are drawn on. I mean, but
it will look like that here soon. By I think June 1 is my goal date to get to that next level of leanness. Because when you're training, you're always looking to get to that next level. When you do your first bulk cut cycle, you can put on something like 15 pounds of new lean muscle mass well, if you have a body like mine, I'm more endomorphic. So I can usually put on 15 pounds in my very first bulk. A lot of that was fat, had to get it off, lost a lot of that muscle mass because I didn't know how to cut correctly. But as you get going in your personalized fitness journey, then there's always that next level. And for me, the next level is never to be like a bodybuilder or put all sorts of crazy stuff in my body. It was really just to max out my genetic blueprint and then just try to dial it in leanness wise. And then I'm at the point now in my physique development where it's cutting things out. It's like, okay, I don't need to take that supplement anymore. I don't need to take this anymore. I don't need to train as hard. But I've been at it for almost 20 years now.
Yeah, I get that. So like in terms of what you're doing with Joel then, just to help Joel out, what are you doing then to get him to put on the weight? Are you feeding him or
feeding him? Yeah, I think he wants to kind of lean out a bit too. And it really depends on what your budget permits, your schedule permits, and what you want to do. So I think for him, it got to the point it was a bit unfeasible just eating all those calories a day. So he's more on the ectomorphic side, which in the space is known kind of more like a lean gainer. So it takes him a lot more effort and energy calorically to put on mass. Whereas for me, if I go into a slight surplus, then I'm packing on mass, and I'm packing on mass very quickly.
Well, so you can balloon quite quick then?
Yeah. I think I'm at prior to the fitness thing. So my peak fatness is what I call it. I was at 285 pounds. I cut down to 190 or so. I didn't really have much muscle to speak of at that point. And this is kind of disheartening. Sometimes I'll get guys that contract me for coaching. I'm really good at helping guys lose significant amounts of weight. And then how do you manage to lose skin? How do you update your mindset? How do you form that new identity that you're no longer the fat person anymore, looking back at yourself in the mirror? So it's disheartening for a lot of these guys. I'll tell them like, hey, congratulations, you've lost 100 pounds, but you're still fat. You're still 20% body fat. So I was kind of at that point when I got down to 190, as I mentioned earlier, started doing the bulk cut cycle thing. And then as I got older, I just dialed it in a lot more, realizing I don't have to do anything extreme anymore. It's just minimally viable dose, minimally viable stimuli in the gym. So my workouts are real abbreviated, 20, 40 minutes a day, usually 5 times a week. Sometimes I'll reduce that down to 2 or 3 times a week and then just do the same volume within those. So you start to learn these things as you get going on.
Okay, so in terms of with your kind of training routine, then, if you're only doing sort of 40 minutes, what are you looking at there? Intensity, speed, what you know, how you doing it? You're trying to go for like strength or cramming the sort of sets in that time. It's quite a small window that. For I mean, I know some people claim to only work 40 minutes, but is that with the warm up or just training time?
My warm up is walking or jogging to and from the gym. Cool down is walking home from the gym. So, and I live in Mexico City, perfect weather all year round. So it's enough to warm me up. I will do my first set real light, like sets of 40 to 50 or something like that with girl weight pretty much, just to get the blood flowing to the area I'm targeting that day. So what I did actually, I got to the point in my development to where I realized I hired a professional bodybuilding coach years ago in California during the pandemic. Actually, they closed all the gyms, and he converted his detached garage to a gym. And then I just spent pretty much all summer training. There's nothing else really going on. They closed down our beaches even. So, what would take me a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half or so, I realized, okay, we did the progressive overload, but you'll realize you can only do progressive overload for so long, because if the human body were to allow you to continually do progressive overload and you just always get stronger and there's no high end, then, well, I've been in the gym for 20 years. I would have gorilla strength. It would be stupid numbers, but the body doesn't let you do that. So I did the progressive overload, got to the point at my genetic max where I wanted to be, and then realized, okay, well, I don't want to add stuff to the routine in terms of like steroids or anything like that. So I hit that genetic ceiling, and then I maintained there. So then the idea was, okay, how do we do the same amount of volume for less? And you can do that. So I started working on reducing my rest time windows. They used to be 2 to 3 minutes, then maybe it was 2 minutes, then it was a minute 30, then it was a minute. And now my rest time is 15 to 30 seconds. So I'm still lifting the same volume and the same actual weight.
How do you do that? Is that right? So that's a version of progressive overload. I mean, progressive overload to me, there's many different ways. You can add weight, you can add extra reps,
most people think it's just adding weight, but there's multiple variables: time under tension, rest time, total training volume, and the actual weight that you're adding to your sets week over week, day over day, split over split. So you can adjust any of those variables. I barely rest anymore. So, okay, if I want to get more of a stimuli, well, I can go up in weight now. I can increase time under tension. I can increase my total training volume. I can decrease my training volume and increase the weight. So there's multiple variables you can play with. And I'm always playing with it, because usually after about 90 days, or I like to say 8 to 12 weeks on a split, your body's very efficient. It gets to the point to where, hey, it's dialed in, and then you're not stimulating as much. So I'm usually on the same plan volume wise. I had someone text me earlier, an ex-girlfriend of mine, just like, hey, I started doing this new routine and my neck hurts and I'm getting all these sores. I'm like, well, don't be doing lifts that's going to injure your body. So you'll get these ego lifters. And I was like that too when I was first in the gym.
Hey, I've done that.
What's your max? What's your max? My deadlift max was 505 by 5. Guess what? Number 6. Lucky I didn't slip a disc in my back. I had some sloppy form, rolled my back, dropped it on myself, and I couldn't walk for a month. So guess what? No heavy deadlifts anymore. Does that make me less of a weightlifter? Sure, if you lift with your ego and you don't know how your body works, but I've got a physique to prove that I'm doing all right. So I do a lot of cable stuff now. I do a lot of easy on the joints, tendons, ligaments, but still adjusting the multiple variables within that progressive overload model. Again, whether it be the time under tension, reducing the rest time, increasing the weight, or playing around with the total training volume.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, on the ego lifting, I've done that, Jaren, where
it's fun.
You're sort of focused on the
but you get injured.
max. But once you've done that, that 1 rep or 1, 2, 3 reps, whatever you're going to do, that really short, sort of heavy, for me, it tends to shatter me out. I couldn't do anything after it. I was so shattered. I couldn't even do another set. So
for me, on bench, I've never successfully done 3 plates on each side of my life, which would be 315 pounds. I think my max is 305 or 310, whatever that ended up being. But once I break 300, this shoulder, I injured it years ago in a surfing accident. It's always fine. It clicks sometimes, but it's a dry click. There's no injury, no pain, no whatever. It just got dislocated. I had to pop it back in, but it clicks and it clacks sometimes. Once I break that 300 threshold for the 1 rep max, then this shoulder is just agonizing in pain. So I don't break 300 anymore. I can incline bench 225 for reps all day long, which if you do so you can look at 1 rep max calculators. So, okay, 225 by 10 is equivalent to whatever that number is by 1. So you can reverse engineer that number too. Science is your friend when it comes to training and fitness. It's all just science. Your body will do exactly what you throw at it. I realized, okay, I don't have a huge 1 rep max bench press, but most guys that have even hundreds of pounds more than me on bench press, they can't rep 225 for 10. So I don't really care. And again, I'm more now in my journey, anti-aging, longevity, flexibility, mobility. Training in general is just an investment in your long-term health.
Hope you enjoyed my interview with Jaren Scott. He's quite a character, isn't he? Part 2 coming up. Keep watching.